Wilbur! This time on Custom Works, I'm in the meat wagon for just way too long. Let's get to the workshop. Right, so this week we're going to be working inside the meat wagon, getting all this kitted out and making like the tiniest kitchen and not the biggest van. In here we're going to have to put a lot of worktop, and the worktop primarily is going to be about this high. Now this is the height that the griddle will sit at, and there could be other heights. Things like the fryer and stuff might be at a different height. There's some other bits, but for now, I'm taking this level here, I'm taking that level all the way round as being the point at which I need to make that shape. And I'm going to have to cut that shape out first in the plywood that's going to be the base for everything, then also in the stainless steel. And there could be other things that I need this shape. Now, just to do like a, like a scribe with a pair of dividers around a shape like this is going to be really hard. So it'll be a big piece of material I've got to bring in here. It's just never going to really work. So what I'm going to do is around this level, I'm going to put some masking tape all the way around. And now I've used this quite a few times, this technique. I'm going to make this, and then using filler and fiberglass, I'm going to make this strong. And then I'll be able to clip this whole thing out, and I'll have a really super accurate template for all the bits I cut thereafter this. So first, on with a load of tape around here and get it done. And also, if you look at some of these parts, some of these parts ain't even boarded yet because they're so curved. And to be honest, I don't want to board anything I don't have to board. It's very time consuming, very difficult, because some of these are real compound curves. So I'm just going to make it to fit to whatever this is, and that's where that will fit, and then I can come down to it, up to it, and build around it. But the key thing is that my fit to this shape will be, I ain't going to say perfect because I'd just be lying, but it's going to be close. Okay, so I've got all of that masking tape all the way around on my level line. And what I'm going to do now is go over it first off with some filler, because filler really does, it just gets in and gets all the detail. And that's what you want. You want the details, you want the undulation, the in and out, where it starts, where it finishes, all that sort of stuff. Because that helps you to fit the bit in. If you've got some sort of datum point, a lump, a bump, a start, a finish, something like that, you can line it up with that, and you know that everything else is going to fall into place. So let's get some clag on this tape. This wood on all the way around like a beautiful dado rail, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to fiberglass it, and what this will do, it will bring like an angle there but also flat out to make this really stiff, so when I take it out I can use it as a pattern. So on with the fiberglass. Now what I'm going to do, well, now what I have done, I put like a flange of Dibond around it. So we've got some sort of triangulation this way. I need it to hold its shape once it's off. So I've done that, few layers of glass over it. Now it's trying to break this out, get it out of the van, take some measurements and add bracings here, and we can use this as our shape template. So let's see if we can get this off, because if I've just glued this to the van, that's going to cause some trouble. Before I rip all this out, I'm going to take a measurement between here and here, and then what we can do is bond in a stay there once it's out the van, so we know that that is the width of the van. I'm not going to do it now because I want a bit of flexibility just so I can get it out of there. So let's take that measurement. Yes! Right, so we've got that off, and now we know the shape of the inside of the van. Some of this has stayed on here, but I'm not that sure that that's going to be a real problem. It'll only be a couple of millimetres out. We've got our fiberglass template here. I've drawn round it, and there we go. That is the shape we're going to need to fill in the back of the van. I'm going to cut it out, see how it fits in the back of the van. Okay then, so the back of the meat wagon is in chaos. Been doing a lot, got a lot of stuff going on. This is the area for the fryer. You can see this is a lot lower in base level than there, just to get everything in together. And then here, this is where the meat flipper thing goes.
Griddle.
Griddle, that's the one. And we've got this so it lines up nicely with the top of the griddle, but also lines up nicely with the deep fat fryer. And you know what? I think we ought to just have some sort of like floating around beauty shots with the camera, because I could talk forever, but you're never really going to know what I'm on about. Except for, let me just say this. We have a hole for the sink, and it looks a little bit like Mickey Mouse or that bear off of Haribo's I'm getting from that. But anyway, take a look around, see what you think. All of this is going to be covered in stainless, just so you know. So then, literally, I am on day 2 in the back of the meat wagon, and this is how it looks now. So we've got all the appliances in, there's a decent amount of floor space that you can stand in, we've got some little cubbies as well, and it is all looking pretty good. Still only in raw plywood. We've also took the sink pedestal right to the floor. In fact, we've took everything to the floor around there. I'm sure that's going to look awesome when it's done. But slowly but surely, I'm actually getting there. Got a few bits we've got to make that have got to be removable, so just so that things can easily come in and out, because that fridge is so tight in there, it's unreal. But it does fit. And then of course we've got to think about what's going to go on here where I am. This is going to be the counter and the bit that folds out outside. You know, I've got to make all that as well. So, all to play for, all to stay for. Let's get back to work. Day 3 in the meat wagon, in the belly of the meat wagon. That's where I am. So, got a lot done yesterday. So I've got all this sort of plywood sort of shape roughed out and in places. My God, it's roughed out. Look, expanding foam and an ill-fitting piece of wood. This will be plain flat, glassed over and smoothed out. So yeah, lots of this is a bit gappy, a little bit rough, things like this. this sticks out, this, because that's just where the side of the thing is, and it, at that angle, it just fits nice, so that's why that's at that angle. But all of this will be perfect by the end of the day. You know, when you see expert joinery like this, you can tell that for many years I was a carpenter. Just a bag with an axe. So, no, really, you know, once it's all filled, it's going to be brilliant and ready to be clad. But first, as I'm filling it, I'm thinking, can I simplify these shapes so that when I'm doing the finishing, everything looks better and is easier to sand. And there's bits like this that I'm going to have to sand in here. It's going to be crazy. But let's get to it. Let's put the camera in the dust bag and smooth this thing out. This bit of roof, now, it's very sort of curved. You may remember we did the thing with the beach ball and it got me the basic fiberglass shape, but I've had to sort of mess it about a little bit, and I've gone over it with more fiberglass and I've started filling it. The reason I'm not going to do this in stainless is because there's just no way to get this shape. I'd have to sort of beat and roll it out, and for what we're doing, not really worth it. So I'm going to paint this bit in, because there's no direct heat to it, and we've done the other side as well, and that is a little bit closer but not quite there yet, so we've got some work there. And also we're body working all of this bit, you know, ready to be either on these more complex parts painted and on the other parts clad in stainless steel. So then, if you remember back, we first made that template out of fiberglass around here to get the shape, and that's how we got this bit. But this bit was one piece, so we can see the join here, and that's where that bit sort of ended, and then we've patched these bits in. But that template gave us the shape around the back. I've got to admit, the amount of stuff that's in here now, we perhaps didn't even need the template. Although it did make it easier at first because we had just one big flat area, put all the bits that we needed, drew round them, and then raised up or lowered down wherever they needed to be, and that got it in. So it sort of helped us. I don't know, we maybe could have done it without it, but it definitely would have been a little bit more difficult. Right, and so where we're up to then, we've got a lot of bodywork to do at the back here. We've got to make the mounts for the lights that are going to go all the way down the middle of this roof, and into that light is going to be incorporated the extractor that we did the other week. But we're definitely getting there, simplifying the shapes and making it so, you know, there's something to actually paint or clad in stainless. And I've only done up to sort of where you are with the camera. Behind there is still a massive hole where the coffee machine's going to be in, but that's for another time. We've not actually got that yet, but more work to do on this, definitely. A lot of body work, a lot of sanding, some priming, some waterproofing, all of that sort of thing. All to stay for, all to play for. It's going to look great, and it's actually starting to feel more like, you know, like a catering truck. It's really good. And it seems, for putting all this stuff in it, it seems bigger in here. I think it's because even with the griddle and the fryer in, it feels bigger. I think that's just probably because it's just tidier and everything's in its sort of right place. So yeah, it's coming on and I'm pretty pleased. Well, that's about it for another week. Now, if you're watching this on Saturday or Sunday, man, I'm not even in the workshop. I'm at the Peterborough show. That's a Hot Rod Nationals and Modified Nationals in Peterborough, clue in the title, and I'll be there all weekend. So come and see me and say hello. And next week we'll have a little bit of report from that show, what was good there. But for this week and for the workshop, it is again all over. So don't forget, do that heart thing, do the bell end icon and all of that other stuff. Until next time, I thank you very much and good night.